大家好，我是 Olive Branch 的 Alan. So hopefully you enjoyed the last video on the next action plan on our purpose. So we're going to continue with this with the habit forming, and now we're going to talk about the skills side of it. Okay, so we have this concept of skill equals to the talent that you're born with, the genetic talent that you're gifted with, times time. So as you multiply your talent with the time you invest into it, that will output your skill in achieving whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So, time, however, we have a little bit more of a nuanced mindset around that. It's not just any time. You can't just spend hours and hours doing something without really putting your mind into it. It's got to be deliberate practice. So, really, it's a function of energy. We really want to focus that time in form of solid focused energy. So the skill is equal to talent times energy. Time and energy, they are very much interlinked. Okay, so it's quality time. It's not just you sitting there daydreaming. That's not good enough. Okay, and so what we find is that successful people, they have this ability, they're disciplined enough to constantly deposit that time in with whatever talent they may start with. They keep putting in the time so that their skill grows. And so eventually they're really good at converting that talent into skill. And then from skill, they take that into achievement. And this is what we realized as the key model for teaching children this discipline and grittiness. The grit is required as well, because every now and then they will fall off the tracks. They will fail at a certain task or project. They might not execute on a habit that they should be doing, and then they'll feel bad about it. They'll beat themselves up. They'll think of themselves as a failure, and then that might be enough to just make them quit. And that's the end of it. They'll quit and they might not ever go back to it. So when we have grit, we have these people who, although fall off, they stop doing the good habit, but then they find a way back to it. They revert back to the purpose why they're here, and they go back into the habit and they start up again. Of course, it's not going to be as fast as they were if they didn't stop the habit, but getting back onto it is a more important quality, because almost everybody will fall off at some point. So the grittiness is a very important attribute as well. So this is where now we get into internal motivation, and why in the very first video on purpose, why it's so important to have a very clear and focused purpose that really means a lot to you, is because it unleashes a lot of energy. And this is what I mean. That internal motivation is that energy. When you're facing that craving stage, that's step 2 in a habit, where you're deciding whether to execute on that good habit or instead to not do that good habit, that extra bump of energy to make you do it, to go to the gym, even though it's in the dead of winter, it's important that the purpose stays clear in your mind. It has to be in your eyes, almost as if, so that you can see it, and that all it takes is that little bit of a nudge to get you going again. So that's the internal motivation. It unleashes that much energy, because again, this will happen again and again and again. And each time this happens, that strong purpose inside of you is what's going to take the difference between keeping that habit and breaking that habit. And so this comes back to the idea of these tiny gains, these small wins will result in a massive achievement. And so that's the same idea as compounding, right? We deposit 1% every day, 1%, 1%, 1%. You don't even see the results of each of these small little deposits. But if you look back into it after a lot of time put in, that 1% compounds into a big result. Maybe you write one paragraph every day for your book that you've always wanted to write. Well, after a year, you would have a very good book written already. Or you decide to go to the gym. Every time you go to the gym, you finish your workout, you're not going to look better. You're not going to look stronger. You're not going to have lost fat. Even if you do it 5 times in a row, you still probably won't see any benefit at all. But after 6 months, you will see a change in your body composition. I can almost guarantee that. So it's this idea of slowly sticking with the system, just taking it one step at a time, not worrying about the goal, but worrying about the process, the system, is the most important thing. You want to protect the habits. Of course, you can fall off and you can get back into it, but it's much easier to just keep sticking with the habit. And so last, I want to close with this idea of paying yourself first. Like any savings or investment strategy, when you get a paycheck at the end of the month, what they do is they cut off 10%, immediately you deposit it into a savings account to help you earn interest. So that's called paying you first, paying yourself first. And with anything in life, you want to do that with your purpose. You want to first do whatever it is to get you that one step closer to your goals. First thing in the morning, check that off your box. Then the rest of the day, you can spend it however you need to or want to. But at least you've taken that one step closer to your goal, which is that one step achieving your purpose. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this series. Please feel free to go back into the previous 2 videos if you want to learn more about why we have a purpose, how to start actioning it, developing a habit, and this hopefully gives you the final bit of information and knowledge, the power for you guys to start changing your life for the better. I hope it has been useful for you, and as always, please feel free to reach out with any questions or comments or feedback. You can email me, you can WeChat me, and just keep doing what you need to do, guys, to increase your life 1% better. So thank you. See you next time.